My sister screamed I was unwanted at her engagement party, but her fiancé heard everything. Now my family wants me to lie to save her. Hi, I am a little clueless right now because I am not a Reddit user. I know that people come to this subreddit for advice. I am in desperate need of some outside perspective right now, so please just help me out if possible. Sorry if anything is wrong with the post. I am also a little out of sorts mentally, so this may come off as a ramble. I am in a big dilemma after a few things happened in my life. I am being blamed for causing problems in my sister's relationship, but I didn't even do anything. I didn't even know her fiancé until I met him at her engagement party. That was 3 days ago. Things have gone to hell since then. My parents and sister have been blowing up my phone and harassing me nonstop. My grandma says that I am in the right, but I am just feeling way too much pressure right now. The thing is, my sister's fiancé is reconsidering their engagement after seeing her treat me horribly at their engagement party. Before I get into what happened, I need to tell you some backstory about my life. My parents, 50 male and 50 female, always hated me. It was made clear to me ever since I was born. I mean, I don't remember my early days, but as far as I remember, my parents hated me. I was, and still am, the ultimate black sheep of the family, the black sheep and the scapegoat, to be exact. My sister, 24 female, is 5 years younger than me. She is the golden child of my parents and shares their sentiments about me. In short, she hates me just as much as my parents hate me. Growing up, I was neglected and later abused by everyone in the family. My parents used to beat me a lot while they never even once screamed at my sister. They never beat me enough to leave marks, and I was too much of a pathetic chicken to tell anyone what was going on. Only my grandma knew the full truth. And some of the family members noticed that my parents weren't treating me right. I was an antisocial kid with almost no friends, so I couldn't tell anyone at school either. All through my life, I had to put up with a lot of abuse from my parents and even my sister. June may be younger than me, but she definitely didn't respect me as her elder. She basically learned to treat me horribly from my parents and used to hit me a lot as well. I defended myself once, for which I was starved for 2 whole days. After that, I pretty much gave up and just started being her punching bag. So, yes, my parents and sister were never too thrilled about me being in their lives. This is a short version, so you have to make do with this backstory. Please don't ask me to tell you everything about the abuse because I just don't want to talk about it so much. I am not here to share my sad story. I just need some advice to see if I'm being an idiot. I think you guys can already understand when I say that I haven't been in contact with my parents and sister since I turned 18. I didn't want to be where I wasn't wanted. They didn't miss me anyway. So, after getting horrible grades in college, I started working a minimum wage job and tried my best to live for myself. It wasn't easy, and I am still not financially well off, but I am doing okay for myself. I even managed to get a friend or two. Anyway, back to the main problem. After over a decade of no contact, my sister invited me to her engagement party. I swear I felt like laughing when I received my invite. My grandma told me that my sister got my address and phone number from her because she wanted me at her engagement party. I still don't know why, maybe for appearances or whatever. I wasn't thrilled about attending, but my parents actually called me up and asked me to come. They were surprisingly polite on the call, so I thought that showing up wouldn't hurt. Well, I was wrong. My parents and sister pretty much started to ignore me after exchanging pleasantries and introducing me to June's fiancé, Nate. I don't know his age or anything. He seemed like a decent guy, and my grandma confirmed it for me. I was minding my own business and was ready to leave early since my parents and sister had almost become strangers to me after all these years. But I stayed back because Nate kept trying to talk to me. I think he was trying to get to know me because I was going to be his sister-in-law. I didn't know why because I thought that he would hate me too, just like my sister. After all, he was going to be her husband. He genuinely seemed to want to know more about me and even invited me to lunch the next day with him and my sister. I just gave him a vague reply since I didn't know what to say. I was pretty sure that my sister would not want to be around me. June noticed that Nate and I were talking. She pulled me into the lawn and began screaming at me to stay away from Nate. Then she went on a tangent about how I shouldn't even think of being back in the family because the invite was just for show. She said some nasty crap about me, which I won't repeat here. Her points were that no one loved me, everyone hated me, no one wanted me back in the family, and my favorite, I would always be the unwanted child. I always had been. None of her rants shocked me because I had already heard it all before. The problem is that Nate somehow overheard the conversation because he had gone out to smoke. Now, I am not sure of what happened later because I went home after my sister kicked me out of the party. 2 days later, though, my sister and parents started to blow up my phone, accusing me of ruining June's life and breaking up her engagement. From what I understand, Nate didn't like the way June treated me. He didn't say anything at the party, but after going home, they had a huge fight. Apparently now Nate is thinking about breaking off the engagement because he has never seen this side of June before. I don't know exactly what went down, but this is what I deduced from my parents' and sister's angry rants at me. Now they are trying to force me to talk to Nate and tell him that all was done in good faith. I know this sounds ridiculous, but that's what they want me to do. They want me to lie to Nate and tell him that we all love each other and are just fighting like regular sisters do. Honestly, I am sort of beating myself up for even attending the party. I don't want to lie to anyone and pretend that my sister is not abusive. I don't want to pretend that I love my sister and she loves me. I spoke to my grandma, and she is firmly on my side. She even said that maybe it would be best if Nate walked away because June definitely doesn't deserve a nice man like him. I was initially sure that I was doing the right thing by ignoring my parents and sister, but they are showing no signs of stopping the harassment. I kind of wish this would all go away on its own, but that's probably not going to happen. Their words are starting to take a toll on me. I have been having some thoughts of just doing what they want so that they would leave me alone. But then again, I didn't even do anything, and I'm being blamed for absolutely no reason. What do you guys think I should do? Am I the asshole for refusing to lie to someone and pretending that I have a loving sister? Edit. A lot of you have questions about why my parents always treated me this way. Some of you have been saying that I probably did something to make them hate me. Yes, I did something. I made the mistake of being born. I am not making this up. My parents always tell me that it was a mistake to have me. My parents had just been married for a few months when Mom found out that she was pregnant with me. They were young and not ready to have kids. They are very pro-life, so they didn't want to get rid of me. I think my parents kept spoiling my sister and enabling her behavior because they thought it was unfair of me to ruin their vision of a perfect family. At this point, I have no idea why they thought abusing their daughter would be the best way to go about this. That is something you have to ask my parents. I kind of wish they would have adopted me out or something. It literally is a joke to call them my family. They hate me because I stole their dreams from them. They hate me because I didn't let them have a few years of carefree life before finally settling down and planning a family. My sister was the planned kid, so they loved her more and considered her their perfect daughter. I know it's not my fault that I was born, but that reasoning doesn't fly with them. To them, I am the villain and the evil child who needed to be put in her place. Update 1. Guys, I am absolutely blown away by the responses to my post. I knew that I was probably not the asshole, but the consensus is definitely overwhelming for me. Your comments have also opened my eyes to how bad things have been for me. I will admit that I have a habit of shutting down and acting nonchalant about stuff. My past and even my present are not easy to deal with. So I have a habit of burying my emotions and trying hard to make it seem like I am unaffected by all the abuse. I am well aware that this is a coping mechanism I developed to deal with the trauma from my childhood. I just can't give in to my emotions anymore because I am afraid of having a mental breakdown and ending up in a psych ward. I don't really have anyone to depend on, so I can't lose myself in my head. That is one major reason why I have been avoiding thinking about my family in detail. Some of you have written down some great points about how my parents have been abusive to the point where CPS should have gotten involved. I didn't appreciate you guys attacking my grandma for not taking me away sooner. She is a frail woman with a host of health issues that would make her an unfit carer for me. So, if she had gotten CPS involved, I would have probably landed in foster care. Yes, she asked around, and no one was in the place to take me in. I don't blame them because none of us come from rich families. My uncles and aunts have their own children and not enough money to feed an extra mouth without it affecting their finances. I don't hold any grudges against them. It wasn't their responsibility to fix my parents' mistakes. They did try to talk to my parents and make them understand that what they were doing was wrong. My parents had threatened to take me away and cut my access to them. I guess that scared them enough to not push the issue. They also punished me severely for getting the family involved. So eventually I stopped telling anyone that things were getting bad at home. I think I should take some blame for shutting down and not communicating with the extended family after a while. Anyway, I see now that I should have never shut myself down. No matter how hard it was, I should have spoken up and blasted my family to everyone they knew. I accept this, and I feel ready to slowly take steps towards the right direction. After hearing all your advice, I contacted a close friend of mine and showed her my post. Then I poured my heart out to her and, as predicted, had a breakdown in her apartment. I begged her to help me, and she did. She signed me up for therapy and promised to be with me while I confronted my demons. I will forever be grateful for her help. As for my parents and sister, they are still blowing up my phone whenever they can. I have decided to move in with my friend for some time because I don't think I can be alone right now. She has been an angel and is helping me with everything that I may possibly need. There is just one thing that has been bugging me a little. June's fiancé has been texting me and begging me to meet up with him. June told him that he should hear the truth from me because he was making a big deal out of everything. I think my sister and parents are convinced that I would do what they want and make up stories about how June's treatment of me is just sisterly love. Honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do about Nate. I don't know if I should just block him and move on or meet him and tell him the whole truth. Mentally, I am still a mess, so I don't trust my decisions right now. Maybe you guys can help me out with this one. Update 2. I heard you guys loud and clear. I get it. I need to talk to Nate. He needs to know what kind of woman he is going to marry. There is always a possibility that what happened with my parents may happen to them. I am almost 100% sure that June would end up abusing their kid just like my parents did because it's all normal and justified in her eyes. There is also the fact that Nate is actually a good guy and doesn't deserve to be with a cold witch like my sister. I really thought things through and decided that it would be best to meet up with Nate and tell him everything. I want to do it before going to the therapist because I am pretty sure I won't be mentally stable after I let it all out to my therapist. At least right now, I can still pretend to be indifferent and speak facts without being an emotional wreck. I have already texted Nate and arranged a meeting with him. I have also saved all the texts that my sister and parents sent me so that I could show Nate. I don't think he would refuse to believe my story, but it's always nice to have some backup proof. We are going to meet tomorrow as per his request, and I will be taking my friend with me. She will sit far away and only intervene or get involved if I end up having a breakdown or something. I am sort of dreading the meeting because talking about the past is slowly getting to me. I feel exhausted all the time and actually had to get time off work to deal with it all. Thankfully, my boss is really friendly and doesn't go around canceling leaves for fun. No, he doesn't know the whole story, and I prefer it that way. Telling a friend and a bunch of strangers was enough to make me close to spiraling. I don't want my work to know about my sorry life too, so for now, they will be in the dark. As for Nate, I hope I have the strength to tell him the whole story so that he can save himself from marrying my demon sister. Update 3. I met up with Nate last night. It wasn't a calm, peaceful, and collected conversation. I actually expected to go a little nuts, but not to this extent. Releasing pent-up anger and frustration isn't a great feeling. It gets ugly and messy, and that's exactly what happened in yesterday's meeting. When I went to talk to Nate, I could tell right away that he looked like hell. I may not know him that well, but I have been the man before. He looked completely broken and disheveled. We tried to make some small talk, but the elephant in the room needed to be addressed. He straight up just asked me to tell him my dynamic with my sister and our family. I did just that. I told him everything. I tried to keep a straight face as I told him the whole story of my life right up to that day. June and our parents hadn't stopped messaging me and harassing me. I showed him all the texts and let him go through my chats with them. It took a good 3 hours for us both to collect ourselves. He was crying, I was crying, and my friend was trying to make sure we didn't pass out or something. I am so glad that I took her with me. I was on the verge of having a breakdown, and my friend recognized it right away. She intervened and calmed me down so that I wouldn't end up losing my mind. Nate was pretty concerned about me too and kept telling me that I didn't have to pressure myself to tell him everything. But I don't know, guys. It was good to get it all out. Maybe it even prepared me a little for what I may face in therapy. Besides, I needed to tell Nate everything so that he could make his own decisions. It was an awfully difficult conversation. Nate told me that he had no idea just how bad things were. June always told him that I wasn't around because I was too busy with work and other commitments. He had no reason to suspect anything. My parents had been extra sweet to him, so he had absolutely no doubt that they were good people. That was all until the engagement party. Nate said that it was pure luck that he heard our conversation, but he is glad that he did. Ever since that day, he had been questioning if the woman he fell in love with was even real. He actually asked for some space from June, but she blew up at him at that. June kept telling him that he was overreacting and that sisters are mean to each other all the time. Thankfully, Nate didn't buy any of it. He is a single child, but he has a bunch of girl cousins who also have sisters. He has never seen anyone be so downright nasty to their sister before. Unlike June, he actually has empathy and the emotional capacity to differentiate right from wrong. Nate has tried hard to make June tell him the whole story. When she kept gaslighting him, Nate decided to call up my parents and try to find out what was going on. My parents, of course, said the same thing as June, and even tried to tell Nate that I must have said something awful to June to cause trouble. My oh-so-loving parents painted me as the selfish, pathetic, and drama-loving girl who ruins everything because I am jealous of my sister. Nate still didn't believe them. That's when he contacted my grandma, who told him the truth. He was absolutely appalled and immediately told June that the wedding was off. She raged and cried and was in hysterics. She kept telling him that he was overreacting and Grandma was lying because I was her golden grandchild. Nate was so confused and overwhelmed by everything that he didn't know what to do. Then my sister stupidly gave him my phone number and told him that he should ask me to explain everything. My sister, of course, expected me to tell him what she wanted me to say, so she encouraged him to talk to me. She had no idea that I would outright say no to her and my parents' demands. I didn't bother correcting her delusions after a few replies on my end. By then, I had already made this post and knew what I needed to do. I didn't tell Nate about the post, but I told him everything else that had been going on. My friend filled in the gaps when I couldn't speak anymore. At the end of the meeting, both Nate and I were too emotionally drained to talk about what would happen next. After I came back home, Nate texted me and told me that he would be leaving my sister for good. Calling off the engagement wasn't enough. He wanted nothing to do with a woman who was so evil from the inside. I haven't received any angry texts from my sister and family yet, so I am assuming that he hasn't gone through with his plan yet. For now, I'm going to lay low and work on getting my emotions back in order. I know that things will get really ugly in the next few days, so I need to brace myself for that. I may not be quick to make an update, and I hope you will excuse me for it. Update 4. Hi there. I am alive and still passing off as a functioning adult. I am so sorry I couldn't come back sooner for an update. As you can tell, a lot has happened since my last post. I knew that I would need time to come back with an update, but I didn't think that I would need 3 whole months for that. Today has been one of my better days, so I thought maybe I should come here and make an update. I really appreciate all the comments you left on my post. They really warmed my heart and kept me going even when I was in the worst part of my life. I think you all would be happy to know that things are finally looking up for me a little, but good things come with a heavy price. When I made my last update, Nate hadn't spoken to my sister about ending their relationship. He did that just 3 days later. He wanted to move his important things to a safe place before breaking off the relationship. He was making arrangements because, at that point, he was scared that my sister would turn violent and aggressive, among other things. He was absolutely right about that, and thank God he went to a safe place before breaking up with June. Nate had moved to a friend's house with his important documents and stuff. He then called my sister and told her that it was over. She did not take that well. First, she cried and begged Nate not to leave her. Then she told him that she would do anything to win him back, and even start treating me better if that's what it would take to make him stay. When Nate didn't entertain her pleas for reconciliation, June went absolutely crazy. I am not exaggerating one bit here. June literally became crazy. She sent him videos of her trashing the house and destroying whatever Nate couldn't take to his friend's house. Then she started to show up at his friends' houses to find him. She even threatened them when they told her that Nate wasn't with them. June went to his parents' place and created a scene so bad that the cops needed to be called. She got off without a warning, but she didn't take it seriously at all. June then showed up to his work, but security didn't let her in. What did she do then? She waited and followed him to his friend's place. Things got ugly there, and the friend had to intervene and call the cops on June. She left before they could arrest her. Then she had the audacity to show up to my work and try to run me over with her car when I was finishing up my shift at the restaurant. This is my second job, so she knew I would be there working the evening shift. Thank God I was able to recognize her car and was able to get away without getting crushed. I had to go to the hospital for a broken arm when I fell while trying to move out of the way. Don't worry, it wasn't anything severe by God's grace. I could have died because of that crazy woman. I don't want to go into details about what happened next, because I simply wasn't in a good place. Stuff happened, cops got involved, and cases were filed. Most of the heavy work was done by my friend and also Nate, who came to help me out while I recovered. My aunts and uncles also rallied around me, and so did my grandma. After a very long time, I felt like I finally received the love and care that I always longed for. It didn't come from my parents, but it did come from my extended family. Speaking of my parents, well, they blamed me for everything. They sent some nasty messages about how this was all my fault and I deserved to die because I was sending my sister to jail. Again, I don't want to get into details or else I will get triggered again. The case hasn't wrapped up completely, but it looks like my sister will be going to jail for a short while and paying me compensation. Pretty sure that is going to come out of my parents' pocket since she literally has nothing to her name. My extended family pretty much cut them off, and my grandma disowned them for good. My parents tried to come at me for this, but thankfully I had restraining orders in place by then. Things were really ugly for me for the first 2 months because dealing with this all was just exhausting. I went to therapy, and I'm still seeing a psychiatrist for my trauma. But you don't need to worry about me too much. I am actually doing much better now. Yes, there are days when I feel completely hopeless and depressed, but I am learning to deal with it in a healthy way. I must say that my roommate has been my rock through this. Also, credit where it's due, Nate has been helping me out a lot and being extremely supportive right now. He has his own restraining order against June, so he has nothing to worry about on that end. He has a good support system too, which is nice for him. So yes, everything that could go wrong did go wrong, but I came out with minimal damage. I will forever be thankful for that. I have been thinking of moving away, but I really don't want to be away from my grandma, who is not in the best health right now. All this has taken a toll on her health as well. That's the update I have for you. I won't be coming back with more updates because I'm hoping things will be calm from now on. I am doing my best to move on. So, I needed to say a final thank you to all of you who made this possible. I have taken all your advice and will be keeping it with me for the rest of my life.